All right. Thank you, Jane. So, we are going live here on LinkedIn and on YouTube. I am your host, George Miller. I'm here with you almost every Wednesday, noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. And I will start off by saying thanks, Jane. There's a few ways that you can jump in and engage. So, of course, I love it when you're on Zoom. If you want to come off mute at any point and ask a question, you're welcome to show your camera or not. You can just jump in. I do a lot of trainings with people where I am having them be more assertive. So I'm used to it if I get cut off. And if you don't want to do that, you can also type your questions into the chat or type your questions into the comment section on LinkedIn Live or on YouTube Live. So I'm going to be diving into talking about emotional intelligence, and I'm going to be, I'll give you a little bit of history about myself and why I picked the topic the way I picked it today. It doesn't look like it got quite as much traction as some other topics, but it's something that I enjoy a great deal. Coming from a musician background, a background of singing, and the ways that actually led me to a coaching journey, and how much overlap there is between giving feedback. So I'm going to talk about that, but I want everybody to know who's joining in that you can ask any question career related. You don't have to try to stay on this topic. You don't have to stay on the topic of emotional intelligence. I've got a lot of years of experience of coaching people in developing in their careers. So anything from interview questions to what to do with your resume. Honestly, I look at a lot of resumes. I've looked at a lot over the years, and I'm usually able to help improve a couple things. So if you got any of that kind of question, I love jumping in on that stuff. So feel free to ask questions about resumes, interviewing, culture. In fact, I recommend, or I'll just say it up front, I recommend not using the word culture when you're talking about company culture. I might get into that later. But if you want to ask questions about your team, ask questions about how to interact with your boss, your manager, anything is on the table, anything career related, please feel free, jump in, ask. You can type your questions into the comment section, or you can jump in here and just come off mute and ask me. So that being said, I'll circle back to that in a little bit, but I want to talk about giving and getting feedback in your career. So I come from music, I come from art. That's where I began my journey in self-development. I didn't think of it that way at the time. But when mixing things, when making music, when having a band work together, there's this whole flex and flow that happens of having the singers and the instruments to be resonant with each other. It's actually one of the little tricks when mastering an EQ is finding where the instruments resonate and having it all come together. It actually makes the mix a lot louder and gives it a kind of glow that doesn't happen if you're not aware of this. So what I like about this is that if I'm aware of myself and my emotions, and I'm aware of other people's emotions and how that's interplaying in conversations, if I can let myself be more resonant, what happens in groups is that things glow, they get bigger. People have more insights, people get more creative. And so there's a way that interacting in a group can bring out results that are so much greater than if I'm just going about it at myself. So you might have heard that if the sum of the parts can be greater than I'm I'm messing that part up right now. It'll come to me later. But that's what we're looking at here is we have all kinds of issues that we're trying to figure out in our companies. There's new technologies coming out. There's always shifting environments. And so I am very often not going to be able to get the results that I want by myself. I just can't do it. It's too complex of a world. And so as I'm able to learn to trust more and speak up more and put myself into situations more, then I will be able to have myself resonating better with others. So I'll probably share a little bit more about this, but I wanna check in with somebody. Eric, I see you're jumping in on here, and I know that you have been in an exciting development in your career, and I want to invite you to jump in and share any updates that you have or any questions or concerns that you're bringing to the table here. So I'll circle back around on this topic in a little bit, but I want to make sure that we get you in. I know you've often got to run in a little bit. So Eric, feel free to jump in whenever you want. And if you're just joining in, I'm your host, George Miller. I'm here almost every Wednesday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time. And my specialty is social and emotional intelligence, but I have a lot of background in career development. And so any questions are fair game. Any questions that you have related to developing your career, you are welcome to ask. You can jump in on the comment section or you can jump in here on Zoom. So when giving feedback, so I'm gonna now pretend that I'm coaching somebody who's a manager. So let's say that you are stepping up in your career, and we'll go with one scenario. Let's say that you have been in the company, you have a bunch of relationships already with people there, but now you are going to become a manager. That means you're going to be managing people who you already know. So we might like to think that, oh yeah, that'll be great. There's no problems with that. Yet we're all imperfect beings and we have a lot of feelings about stuff, and those feelings are great. Those feelings give us a lot of important data. But if I'm changing positions and I'm leveling up in leadership and now I'm becoming a manager, it's going to be important for me to acknowledge that and to name that to the people that are going to be reporting to me. You know, to say something like, we have been, I'm so excited for me to be moving up in this position. I'm looking forward to being able to drive things in a new kind of way. And I want to acknowledge, that we're going to be having a different relationship. And that's an important thing to acknowledge. And anything I say here, I always want to say, translate it for yourself and your environment. So you know your culture better, you know your company better. But it is an important thing to acknowledge when leveling up as a manager, to establish that, to get clear about what the expectations are now. Because this has often happened where people now are used to relating to you in a way that they might be trying to come to you now with things that don't really serve the goals of the company. If you've had relationships where you're kind of gossiping about stuff and now you're a manager, you're going to have to learn a hard lesson that first of all that gossiping probably wasn't that great anyway and wasn't really helping. And now that can be detrimental to the well-being of your growth as well as your team's growth. So that will be something that you will need to cut out, and you'll have to figure out how you're going to communicate that to people. For yourself, actually, I'll throw this into the chat. There's something called the drama triangle. Eric Byrne did a lot of work on transactional analysis, looking at how people interact in the games that we play. Fantastic book, Games People Play. Then Stephen Cartman, a student of his, came up with the drama triangle, really bottom lined his research in a way that you will get quickly. And so we're going to throw a link to a video that I did on that. It's the drama triangle. If you are becoming a manager, I highly recommend you take a look at this video, because it will highlight some of the habits that you probably have in how you interact with people that really end up being a block to your growth and can really drag things down for you. So we all have it. There's ways that we all engage in this drama triangle. But if you are stepping out of it even a third of the time more, you are going to notice amazing results. So check that out. Thanks, Jane, for throwing that in there. Cool. Oh, we got Eric jumping in here. Eric, yeah. Let's get an update, man. How's it going?
It's been good. Still trying to work through a start date for that new role. And I have a one-on-one with my current manager tomorrow. So I was gonna, do that in person, but due to some other stuff, I have to work from home tomorrow. So I figured probably not ideal to do that over Teams. So trying to find time. I don't know to do that today or get a feel if she'll be in on Friday. But, I think it's probably the right way to do that in person versus another medium. Um, but no, it's so just kind of working through those initial like onboarding, when are you going to be up here and all their fun stuff. But yeah, otherwise, I haven't started, officially started the transition here, but just trying to find the right, in person moment to talk to my manager about it.
Okay. Well, you said that you might be able to do that today?
Yeah, I'm thinking later in the day because I'm basically booked solid. Well, we most between all of us on the team are booked all through the day, but there'll be some time at the end to talk to her about it. Because otherwise, the other chance this week would be Friday, but I don't know if she'll be in office that day as well.
Got it. Well, Eric, what are you feeling? Fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy. What are the feelings that you're experiencing while you're thinking about this?
um, Fear, of course, because I don't know how she's going to react. Um, a tinge of joy, of course, because it's an exciting new opportunity. Um, don't think definitely not hurt, not anger. Um, Maybe a twinge of sadness because I really like the team I'm on and managers is really solid. But I think probably the big two would be fear and joy, I guess.
Okay.
Hey, hi, Busha. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Actually, I joined around 12. I didn't see that it was a EST, so I got a little late.
Oh,
Just,
got it.
yeah.
Got it. Umbaj, that's fantastic. Hey, we'll have you check in just a moment, okay?
Sure. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Yep. Thanks for joining in.
So I'll be on the meeting. You're coming back?
Oh, you can stay on. Yeah. I'm getting an update from somebody, but yeah, stay on, and I look forward to talking with you in just a moment.
Sure.
You got it. So, Eric, one of the things that I recommend is I mean, definitely doing it today. I mean, just you got to say something
Yeah, yeah,
because it's just gonna you'll feel more and more and more afraid. And so even if the timing, if everything isn't perfect,
right.
like there's kind of no way to not have it be she's gonna feel the gut punch probably.
Right, right, right.
So as you allow yourself to kind of feel the fear of that, and I recommend kind of leaning into the sadness as well and letting yourself feel that sadness because that'll have her at least know that she's mattering to you, and that will probably help some. Just being able to say, yeah, I'm sad that I'm leaving a team that's really good.
Yeah, and that was going to be kind of part of also the brief messages, um, among other things. I've had a great time, with you as my manager and with everyone on the team. It's definitely, been a pleasure and honor working there with everyone, and definitely going to be sad to leave the team. So that's going to be kind of included in my messaging
Okay.
as well. So,
Well, Eric, what support would you like, or what would you like to get in your checking in today, as you're in a pretty big transition?
um, I'm not. It's kind of a case where I don't know what I don't know. Um, I think once I go through the onboarding process and get a better feel for things, I'll probably have a better idea. I think right now it's all just kind of like, when's that going to start and what that looks like. So it's kind of a case where I don't know what I don't know, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think for right now, it's more like just kind of waiting for that onboarding and see how that goes, and meeting with the rest of the team, and um, I'll probably have a better idea of maybe some gaps that I'd be looking to shore up then.
Okay. Okay, can I'm gonna just talk a little bit about transitions, and some of what I say may be helpful as a reminder for you, Eric, and
Yeah,
also
sure.
for everybody listening in. So Eric's in a transition, um, moving from a company where he has developed himself and has deepened relationships, and he's liked. It's a good spot. He has been a value add there. He's got a really cool opportunity he's moving into. So there's this transition, and he's wanting to make sure that as he exits, that he's doing it with a lot of grace and goodwill. And this is actually an important thing. They did studies with doctors and nurses giving shots, and they found out that it's actually if there's more pain on the entry of the needle, but and then less pain in comparison to the entry, that people will remember that it was they'll have a more pleasurable memory of the experience. Say, "Oh, I didn't like it, but it wasn't that bad." Whereas if the needle goes in and there's absolutely no pain or less pain, and then there's more pain exiting, the person will remember like, "Oh, that was really bad." So some nurses are even doing a thing where they will give a little pinch with their fingers when they're doing the insertion, so that there's a little more pain. They're making sure there's a little more pain on the insertion than on the exit, and because the overall experience for the person ends up being more positive, and it's an interesting thing. So what Eric's working on is, okay, I'm exiting, but I want to make sure that everybody really understands that I appreciate them as people, and I want to acknowledge the feelings that I have about going. And, one of the things, I'm somebody, when leaving a party, when I'm leaving a social gathering, I'm really uncomfortable. Like, it's so uncomfortable for me to like move from one group to another or say, okay, goodbye. I've been practicing this for years. And me saying, so good speaking with you. I'm going to go over here now. And it's acknowledging, everybody ends up feeling more acknowledged in that process. So I used to just kind of like slink out of things, or, just kind of ghost. And, I was doing it out of my own insecurities. So if I actually lean into that fear and that vulnerability and the sadness that I might feel when saying goodbye, then I'm actually acknowledging that process. I'm acknowledging that other people matter to me. I'm acknowledging that this matters. And that's actually affirming, even if there's some discomfort there. So for people who are joining in for the first time, that's a key thing, is that feelings are good. There's no such thing as a negative feeling. All feelings are data. They help us make deeper bonds and connections. In fact, all of our thoughts bubble up from our feelings. Our feelings are incredibly important. And so to acknowledge them, that there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, I'm going to feel sad when I'm leaving a team that I've developed relationships with. So to be able to embrace that in myself, say I have these feelings, that then allows me to make deeper contact with others and to share that more with other people. So as Eric is exiting and he's doing it with more grace and acknowledgement, then he's going into a new environment. And here's where I guess I'll say that maybe we could make the comparison to putting the needle in, is that actually one of the things I recommend so much to people when they are starting at a new company is, of course, you're going to put a lot of effort into the first 6 months. You're going to work hard, but I want you to work smart. I want you to be strategic about how you're interacting when you go in. How you start is incredibly important. First impressions really make a big deal. And it's not about being nice. When you're starting in a new position, when you're starting in a new company, it's not about getting people to like you. It's way more about getting people to respect you. The liking will happen. That will develop over time. But if you're going in as a yes person, as a over promising and then setting yourself up to under deliver, it's not the way to do it. You want to go in asking a lot of questions. You want to go in getting to know people. If the organization you're going into doesn't have the environment where you set up one-to-ones with people, where it's not part of the culture, and it would be kind of awkward to do it, then you make it happen anyways. If you're in person, you make sure to walk somewhere with, oh, I'd like to talk while we're going over here. Or if there's a break room, you go into that break room and you make one-to-one contact with people and you get to know them as people. You get to know them, ask them things, notice what they're wearing. If there's somebody like me, an energizer, they're going to be wearing different jewelry or suits or whatever that they're enjoying. Comment on it. Just be aware of that. If people are different sports fans, make comments about that kind of thing. People will give you signals about what they're interested in, and you establishing that personal connection with them will go a long way. So you're actually focused on them as individuals, as people. We'll throw the personality assessment tool that we've got here. You get to take your personality assessment. We'll get the results back to you. And then there's a video that you can watch that will help you identify other personality styles. This is such a good thing you can do right from the beginning in a company, but notice it's different. For a lot of us, I'm somebody who grew up a people pleaser. just wanting to make sure that everybody was happy. But then I didn't even know how to meet the expectations that I had already like raised up to here for myself. And then I would try to do things on my own, and it would take me into a not a good place. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people listening in probably have that kind of tendency. So you want to be switching that from over promising, under delivering to asking questions and getting to know people. In fact, when I was having people come on to an AV department that I was running, one of the things I would tell them was part of your job is to ask questions and also to tell me what you think that I'm doing is stupid. Now, most people are not going to say that to you, okay? But I'm doing personal growth work, so I get this, and I would say, look, like you're coming in fresh out of school, you have a better understanding of technology than I do. So I'm sure there's things that I'm doing that are a waste of time. I'm sure I'm doing things that are ass backwards. So please tell me that. Don't assume that I know what I'm doing. Look around at what's going on in this environment and tell me what needs to be addressed. You know, you might ask me questions about why are we doing it this way? And as we go through it, you might say, George, I recommend doing something else. In fact, Jane, you do that with me. You're like, George, you might want to look at this other technology over here. That's incredibly helpful, but you don't want to come in like a know-it-all. You don't want to be like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. But ask questions and point things out. Make observations. Be curious about the processes. Make sure if you can use your ignorance. Oh, I love this one. Yes. Dr. Bob Wright would always talk to me about this one. Your ignorance is an asset. In the first 6 months, don't hide your ignorance. Your ignorance is an asset to that company. Because if they can't help you understand why they're doing things the way they're doing them, then a lot of people there probably don't understand what's going on. Oh, Eric, thanks for jumping in. I'm talking so much. I hope that that helps you in the transition as you're going into your next thing. So there's a very good chance that people in the company are not clear about the processes that they already have. There's probably things that aren't working already. And so you get to use your ignorance about that company as a way to gracefully highlight issues that are there. You ask lots of questions, and as people talk about it, they'll be like, oh, great, I didn't know that either. Or, you know what? I'm so glad you asked that question. Geez. And then there's going to be people who don't even say that. There's going to be people who are just like, whew, I'm so glad Eric asked that question. I didn't know that either, and now I do. So you are a huge asset. Your ignorance is a gift to the environment that you're going into. And plus then when people get to walk you through things and train you, then it gets to help them think it through too. It's not just that everybody likes to feel smart. Yeah, we do. We all like to think we're smart. But it's actually good for me to be able to explain a process to somebody. It helps me look at it from another perspective. So this is so key. By the way, this is a lot of what I do as a coach. I ask a lot of questions to my clients. They're grateful to have somebody asking them questions. They're grateful to have somebody not be a know-it-all. So think about that. When you're in a career transition, go in there asking questions, understanding that what you don't know is actually a gift to the people around you. Well, fantastic. So that Eric just jumped off. Thanks, Eric, for your questions and for your transition, for sharing. Eric's somebody who's been jumping in here to Career Lab for years now. And it's been so cool watching him develop his relationships, watching him learn new skills, new EQ skills that have people trusting him more. giving him more responsibilities, and having him. One of the big things he worked on that was huge was he's checking in with people very quickly in a meeting. He's not in that company. He's just a liaison. Lay, why do I forget that word? Liaison to a group. So he's just going back and forth between these different companies. And so it was a challenge for him to feel like he belonged in that group, and to think that he could just raise his hand and say, I've got questions here, or I've got some ideas about, because I understand this other company. And so he developed these relationships where he was able to facilitate the transition of information from one group to the other. He was actually able to streamline that for people. He was able to be a translator, because different departments communicate differently. They got their own language. And he was able to develop the relationships and help the departments understand each other. That's a huge skill. And now he's seeing that gift, and he's realizing that's part of his leadership, and he's seeing more opportunities in the workspace, and knowing that, oh my gosh, yeah, I used to avoid this kind of interaction. I used to just be a head down technical person, just trying to get as many things done in the day as I possibly could. But whoa, as I learn that, yeah, I might be an introvert, but I'm learning that I can tap into aspects of me that I can use as an extrovert. I can choose to turn on my extrovert. As I do that more and more, well, now I don't have to just be running these tasks all day. I'm actually developing relationships with people and helping teams come together and communicate better. So that's leadership, the ability to influence the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others. All right. Well, I've been talking about that for a little bit, and Ambuj, I saw you jump in a little bit ago, and if you're in a spot where you're able to share and just ask what can I help you with today, Ambuj? First of all, am I saying your name correctly? Oh, you're on mute. Let's have you come off mute.
Yeah, you pronounce it right. This is Ambuj. Yeah,
Ambuj.
yeah,
Okay. Good to meet you.
yeah, same here. Yeah, so basically, I think you might have seen my message. So I'm in kind of mid-year career issue. So wherein kind of I got stuck at particular position in terms of the role as well as the salary. So uh, wanted to, I was trying to explore few options, which technology I can switch in, career transition. Uh, that will help me to grow as well as like in the knowledge as well as in the package. So that's what I was looking in the LinkedIn. I think I was asking few proposals, and then I think you've also pinged me. So uh, I believe you were asking if you can help in the resume thing. If I said maybe I'm like resume preparation or resume help definitely needed, but before that I'm looking more into like which area I should transition in. So uh, right now I'm working with mainframe development for almost 17, 18 years, and
What
a mainframe.
what are you transitioning from? So you've been,
No,
I
I'm
see
not
that you're
transitioning
at,
from. I've been working the last 17, 18 years in mainframe development, and of I want to switch or probably transition my career into some uh, 4 5 options I have seen like AWS, cloud, data science, data engineering, and cybersecurity, guideware. These are the 5 options I have seen like in the LinkedIn people are supporting also. I have some
okay.
paid
What are
training
your
options also.
people skill? What are your people skills like as a manager? I see that you've been a manager for a while.
So what happens like, yeah, I'm still managing a team of probably a project team. Uh, I'm into more of like development and support role. So I have 5-6 members offshore team and then couple of numbers at onshore. Uh, uh, but the thing is that is mostly related to the project manager, right? Project. But when it comes to program manager leading a big initiative, to big big probably couple of more accounts or 2-3 projects. So therein we have other um, senior manager or probably um, um, more senior people they are managing. So they're already there and they probably, as you know, they're all set with their positions and with their role. They also don't want to
Got it.
move.
So one thing I want to check in. Can I take some risks with you right now?
Me?
Like, yes.
Yeah, tell
Are
me.
you okay? I want to just I might you got to tell me if I'm on or off. But so what I'm getting from you right now is you have a lot of experience in managing mid-level, yeah, and managing offshore teams. Okay. And you're wanting to transition to data engineering and cybersecurity. Okay. And how much the skill sets that you have in managing what you've done, how quickly do you think you would be able to do that in a cybersecurity or data engineering company?
That's what the challenge is because I think nowadays the trend is whatever the technology you go in, you need to have a knowledge, at least high level knowledge, to manage that. So my point was when I go to transition, I would not only oversee the thing, I try to have more hands-on so that I am also aware of it. If needed, I can work like on the ground as well as manage. But if you are not, because I'm in the mainframe background, so even if I want to do a project manager, just suppose I don't know the hands-on, but let's say high level, it is difficult to go because people will find you out and then they don't
So
take you.
what do you need to do to make the transition?
I believe I think that's my understanding. I should be having a whatever technology I choose, whether it's a cybersecurity or data engineering, I should be having a good hands-on. So I know that at least working knowledge I have, so that once I apply for the job, I can show some experience and get into it, and then from there I can. So since I have the technical knowledge, I can try to use it and going further. So the problem
Okay.
is which technology should be better because I don't want to do a transition in now and then another 2 years, another transition. Since already in the mid career, so I wanted to explore to choose something which is at least last for another 7-8 years or 10 years. I can go into that some booming technology, and
How
then
long?
once that
So, got it. So, how long have you been thinking about this now?
I would
And
say last 4-5 months definitely, and uh, I have through contacts I got some guys who gives the paid training, but again there are a lot of guys giving paid training and even free, so you don't know which is better because once you put the money you cannot keep like exploring the option. You should know which one is good even if it is costly, so that it's worth. So that I am still exploring which one do I don't know how to judge that, and then which technology would be better to move on. So these two places I'm stuck. Once I have that clarity, I can put more efforts. I know I have to put extra effort apart from my job, which I am willing to do it, but I just want to first explore which technology should move in and who can give me a better training, hands-on training. Even it's a paid one, I'm okay. So that two things I'm stuck last 4-5 months.
so, which one do you like more?
Frankly speaking, since I'm a mainframe background, outside I just have awareness. I don't know. So for me it should be like wherever I go, it should be same. Uh, but I like data science, but since I don't have that much experience, it might need more effort from me out of my job because it's more complex, probably complex or probably more more needs more time. So that is the reason I'm not putting like full effort there. But I definitely know that portion might be it's better career growth wise and long lasting, but it needs some commitment. So that's why I was thinking Probably maybe data engineering or cybersecurity might be little easy than what in data science is. But I don't have any knowledge about this. So for me, it's like wherever I go, I should be putting almost similar effort and
Are
probably
you
start
are
from
you
scratch.
are you somebody who um how do you make decisions? Do you like to get all the data and then make a decision, or do you make decisions to get results?
I would definitely like to make a decision to get results, and which couple of times I really did it. It was successful or not also, but the problem is there's so much contents or so much things are available. So you have to do that digging little bit, like get some data which is good, which area is good, then move on instead of just jumping on one. Because if you go it and if you're not successful, you're putting not only money, it's like only you're putting some efforts to learn that, right? And if you don't get result, you lose the time.
Got it. So, Ambuj, there's a whole lot that we could get into. Um, do you, as we're talking right now, if I name these five feelings, fear, hurt, anger, sadness, joy, which of these five feelings do you most feel in your body as we're talking about this subject?
Joy, definitely, because that gives me hope of better career growth and package. Fear is second because I'm in like almost this much experience. I'm not a fresher or 5 6 years guy. So I'm thinking if I completely transition to new one, uh, of course there's a pressure of little bit if I have to, I can do work or not. Second is uh, if I go because I need some commitment, I can put that much effort to learn that before I move.
Okay. So you're feeling fear and joy about this, and there's the fear, it sounds like, that you might make a mistake in
Yeah,
which you choose.
because the technology where I would be going, I definitely might be showing 3 4 years experience, and guys are already there who have better experience. So will I be able to be successful or do it? Or before that, I can make a commitment
So,
of those every hours, three
Ambush,
four hours.
how successful have you been so far in learning new things and applying it well?
Uh, I would say learning wise, I'm the only I'm pretty okay. The only problem sometimes I need some. I lack commitment because of the family reasons with kids and all. Like I want to give the dedicated time, which is a challenge. But I like the but the other main problem is even if I learn, the current place where I work in, the environment is such we don't get a chance to actually do a practical or work on it. So where you are with technology, they just do the same work or probably that technology work. So even if you learn it, if you don't have to apply or don't have get the project to work on, it will not be successful.
So, what are you learning about yourself as you're sharing with us today?
Means I didn't get exactly your question.
What are you learning about yourself as you, so I'll give a little context here. So part of the way that I approach career development is that it's like spiritual development. So your job, whatever your work is, and whatever your next thing that you're taking on is, the real purpose of it is to help you become the man that you can become. And so it's all feedback to you. You could say, like, if you believe in a God or a universe or whatever, that it's sending you feedback about you and where it is for you to develop. And so as you're talking about, you're looking at these different things and you don't know which is the right choice to make, and you're afraid of making the wrong choice. And it also sounds like you're good at learning, although sometimes you have commitment things. And so I suspect that sometimes you'll let yourself get distracted with stuff that might not be as important to you as a way to avoid some of that discomfort. And so what I'm asking is, as just as we're talking about this stuff, what are you learning about yourself as a person?
So I think what I'm, what I think about myself is probably I know what to do and where I should, but since I have a lot of time have passed, I don't know exactly what will help me or what exactly probably or how to probably fix it. You can say I know my problems probably, but I don't know how to fix it. That you can say.
So, when you started thinking about this 4 or 5 months ago, how long would it have taken you to get the training?
I still did not get the training because when I started thinking about, uh, of course, the first point is can I give the commitment? So I thought about it. Will I? Will I not? But then I discovered that probably until I decide on something or invest, let's say money or whatever it is, I may not be focused. Uh, and that is the first thing. And if at all, once I, even if I'm willing to put that time or have that commitment, whatever, whether it's a forcefully or naturally,
Okay.
where I go, it should be fruitful. Like whatever I choose,
So,
technology.
so I just want to, I'm going to, how much in your life does thinking about stuff and kind of going back and forth and thinking about it and trying to analyze it and saying what's the right thing to do, how much time do you think you spend doing that?
I think all the time.
So, so that, what do you make of that? What do you
Sorry,
make of what do you make of how much time you spend thinking about stuff and
I
not
think
doing stuff?
I think I'm confused and wasting my time. I don't know.
Okay. So this is a big one. Look, and I'm no different than you. This is the current state of most humans is that I'm trying not to cuss because it's on you mind F. we Jesse, what's another word for this? All right, we'll go with this one. Mental masturbation. Which is not that acceptable on YouTube either, but um whatever. I'll just say, we have an issue where most of us think about stuff and think about it, think about it, think about it, and don't act. And you know, I think that you developing more of a relationship with the fear so that you can use your fear to guide you into making choices and perhaps willing to say, you know what, this might be a mistake. So if I were going to give you an assignment, what I would say your assignment is to make mistakes. Make little mistakes in your day. Because part of what you're doing is you're trying to avoid making mistakes. None of us like making mistakes, dude. Right? Like I don't like making mistakes. But when I spend so much time trying not to make mistakes,
Correct.
I'm getting in my way. And so this is a big choice. I don't think you're just going to all of a sudden decide, but you can start training yourself to take more risks and perhaps do something wrong. You might sign up for a course that isn't that helpful. I signed up to develop an app and spent a bunch of money on something that was pretty much useless to me. And I wasted a lot of time and money. And that was a mistake. And I wish I hadn't made that mistake. But all in all, it helped me move forward. I'm kind of glad I learned that mistake. I'm still wrestling with that one. So I'm doing more of these YouTube short videos. What we're doing right now is going to get cut up and put on a little short thing. And I'm scared to do that. I don't know if it's a good idea. And I did the same thing as you. For a long time, I was like, oh, should I do this? And I made it all complicated and I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And then eventually I just started doing it. But so for you to be aware of that pattern in yourself and how much you hold yourself back, how much, because dude, you got so much energy just in talking to you quickly. I mean, you're like, like you want to go. I can see that. And so there's a way for you to just let yourself go more. And I think if you make little mistakes, to make and celebrate mistakes. So if you got kids,
Yeah.
okay. So now you can do this with your kids. If you see your kids make a mistake and they're like, oh, like they make a mistake, you go, yay, you made a mistake. And then just watch and see how it's like, oh, wow, because it actually opens their brain up to more learning and development. And then if you make a mistake, especially in front of your kids, you make a mistake, then you can say like, oh, yay, I made a mistake. Daddy made a mistake. And you just start doing that so you can start training yourself to not be so critical and not freeze yourself so much.
Yeah.
So, around this, and now I'll just get straight to tactical stuff. With this, what I recommend you do is you keep reaching out to so many people. You took a risk. You jumped in here today to talk to me and get some support on this thing about this next step. That was good. So keep doing that. Reach out to more people. Say, here's what I'm interested in. And the more that you can follow what you're interested in, that's why I asked you, what do you want to do? You said data science. Okay, well, lean into that more. Because in the long run, do you want to be spending time on something that you're interested in, or do you want to be just trying to do the right thing? Just trying to do what you think is the right thing. And then you might try to do what you think is the right thing. You might invest in it, you might take a class, and then it might not matter anyway. But at least if you're going into what you care about, what's actually interesting to you, at least then, if it's not applicable immediately, at least you learned something that you liked and you deepen that kind of skill. And that's going to have more impact in your life for the long run than just trying to one-off, trying to do the right thing because you think it's the right thing to do. And then as you do that, you start to lose your foundation. You start to lose the foundation of who you are as a man. And then you're just stuck trying to like please people and do what should I do, what should I do, what should I do? And it just turns into something that then doesn't work. That kind of strategy does not work. That sets you up to be unsatisfied with whatever you're doing. So it's really important for you to learn who you are. That's why I'm asking you. I'm asking you about your feelings. I'm asking you about what matters to you. Because you get to develop the relationship with yourself, and that's going to have a much bigger impact in your career overall. How's all this landing for you?
We'll try that. Thanks.
Yeah. Are you okay? So what's your next step? What's
Next
one
up,
or two things you're taking away from this that you're going to implement?
so I think, as you said, instead of trying multiple things, try whatever I'm interested in first, and at least try that. And I maybe, as you said, if I probably I'll take a course, and that will give me some information whether I'm good at it or not. Probably if not, then I will know like, okay, probably this is not for me, whether it's a data science or cybersecurity, and then we'll go my next whatever next in line of my career transition. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. 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 Good. And this is oh, I'm so glad you jumped in with these questions. This is so important for everybody. So this is good. Thank you. Because if you are going about your career just trying to please other people, you're never going to be as good as you could be.
So,
And so even if you're making a mistake and saying, oh, you know what, I'm not that good at this, you're going to have all kinds of insights, and who knows about the connections that you'll make? Who knows what the possibilities are? So you letting yourself do that is such a key skill. And then work becomes play. Then work becomes something that I enjoy. And so I'm so happy you're doing this, Ambuj. Thank you for jumping in and sharing with us, and let us know how it goes. Let us know about the next steps that you take. Oh my goodness. We've been all over the place today. It is 12:55 and we're coming up on the end of this, and I didn't even realize that. So I want to wrap everything up, to say thank you for jumping in today. Thank you for joining in and asking questions. That's such a key skill. That's like my job as a coach, is like a lot of it is asking questions. And so I like sharing this stuff with you and helping you to be more effective in your career wherever you're at. And to look at your career that way, to look at it as you becoming more you, then the challenges become more fun. So like what Ambuj is working on, of what do I do? What's the right thing? I don't know. Should I do it? And then to say, you know what? I'm going to go with what I like, what's interesting to me, and we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to choose to trust that this is going to lead me in a helpful direction. I'm going to choose to trust. And then at least, even if it's a mistake and it didn't work out, at least I learned more about myself in the process. And if all I was doing was just thinking about whether or not this was a mistake, then I didn't move at all and I didn't really learn about myself. So that key thing is learning about ourselves. We look at happiness, the research on happiness is that we become happier, we experience happiness when we're learning and growing. And I think that's such a key thing, even in our the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because it's not a right to happiness, but we have the right to pursue it. And that's actually then how we are experiencing happiness, is we're pursuing it, we're learning and growing. We are not static creatures. We are alive. We are alive. And so as we are alive, we're dynamic, we're developing. I'm never able to just say, oh, I reached the top and now everything's good. We are
Hey,
alive. Yes. Hey, oh, Dhruvi,
Sorry,
uh,
my call
I
got
see we're,
disconnected.
do you got a question?
So I
yeah,
don't
I
have
do have a quick
I don't have
question.
question.
Yes. Okay, great. Dhruvi, what's your question?
So sorry about earlier. I was talking with my mom. I have a COVID, so it was all over my
Oh, I'm
face.
so sorry, Dhruvi.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. As a fresher, should I be focusing more on projects or should I be focusing on certifications? I'm confused in both because it's like a fifth. People say it's you should focus more on certifications, and some say you should focus more on projects. So that's just one dilemma I
What
have.
do you think, Dhruvi?
Uh, I think if I do a project, it will be like more explainable and hands-on, so I can explain more things to them. But if I get a certification from like Microsoft or Google, then it would be like, yeah, she can do something. So not sure.
Well, any reason you wouldn't just do both?
Uh, I think I can do both, yeah.
Then notice that. So notice what we were just with Ambuj. So I can spend a lot of time thinking about either or, which one should I do? But if I can lean into, well, what am I capable of? How much can I do? What do I want to do? Then
Okay.
maybe I want to do both. So the benefit to a project is that you're interacting with people, you're developing relationships, and relationships are the long game in career development. Relationships are more important than certifications. Certifications are also really important. They give you, I have PCC for coaching so that coaches know my level of training. So they're both important. And so if you can do both, do both. And for the long game, I think projects are probably more important. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent. Dhruvi, thanks for jumping in. I got to jump. We're at 1:00. Everybody, thank you for joining in Career Lab Wednesday. I'm your host, George Miller. Back next week. There's ways to connect with me. I love speaking with you one-to-one. I love coaching you here. And if you want more support with things at your own pace, you can find those resources online on my website, EQLDR, and you can also set up a time to talk with me. Thank you, Jane. And there's the personality assessment that you can use. And if you're in Chicago, you can join me at the lake to go into the water as it's getting colder and colder and colder. And then you can keep coming in with me all the way up into January, and then you will be in the ice water and it will be amazing. All right, I gotta go. Bye.